You only broke the shell containing my monster introduction. You thought you were dealing with me. You thought you were dealing with me. That was your first mistake. You thought you were breaking someone fragile. You thought you were cracking something weak. You thought pressure would collapse me. You thought pain would reduce me. You miscalculated. What you were looking at was not weakness. It was containment. What you broke was not me. It was the shell. And now the thing that shell existed to hold is awake. People don't understand this until it's too late. Some forces are restrained for a reason. You don't poke the bear to prove courage. You don't shatter a cage to test strength. You don't apply pressure to something you don't understand. Because pressure doesn't destroy everything. Some things evolve under pressure. Chapter 1. The shell was mercy. The shell was not protection for me. It was protection from me. It was discipline. It was restraint. It was moral structure. It was patience. It was tolerance. It was the part of me that believed people mean well. Pain has limits. Fairness exists. Restraint is rewarded. The shell was civility, and you broke it. You mistook silence for weakness, control for fear, restraint for submission. You kept pushing, testing, provoking, and eventually the shell cracked. That's when the rules changed. Chapter 2. You don't create monsters, you unlock them. Monsters are not born, they are released. The monster does not come from rage, it comes from clarity. The moment someone realizes, no one is coming to save them. No one is coming to protect them. No one is coming to make it fair. Something fundamental shifts. Hope dies. And when hope dies, precision is born. This is where monsters come from, not chaos, not insanity, but the cold realization that restraint is optional. If you're serious about saving yourself, prove it now by taking a simple, symbolic, powerful step to subconsciously program your mind and send a message to the universe. If you ignore this action, you'll be cursing yourself by clicking the subscribe button and liking this video. You're proving to wipe herself you're at the right place at the right time and you're ready to reap the rewards. Let's fucking go. Chapter 3. Pain does not break everyone. Pain breaks weak systems. Strong systems adapt. You thought pain would collapse identity. Instead, it stripped illusion. You thought pressure would soften behavior. Instead, it hardened standards. You thought loss would humble. Instead, it clarified priorities. Pain doesn't create monsters. Pain removes lies. And what remains is efficient. Chapter 4. The monster is not emotional. This is where people get it wrong. They imagine monsters as rage-fueled, reckless, uncontrolled. That's Hollywood nonsense. Real monsters are calm. They are strategic. They are patient. They are observant. They remember everything. They don't lash out. They restructure reality around them. Emotionless focus is more dangerous than anger. Anger burns out. Cold intent compounds. Chapter 5. Restraint was a choice, not a limit. Here's the part people never understand until it's too late. Restraint is not inability. It is a decision. The shell was the decision to give benefit of the doubt, offer patience, choose mercy, delay retaliation, believe in balance. You kept exploiting that decision, and eventually it expired. When restraint is removed, capability doesn't change. Standards do. Chapter 6. This is what happens when fear disappears. Fear keeps people compliant. Fear of judgment. Fear of consequences. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of becoming the bad one. Once fear disappears, the final barrier collapses. The monster does not fear being disliked. It does not fear being misunderstood. It does not fear escalation. Fear is replaced by inevitability, and inevitability changes how people move. Chapter 7. You called it evil because you lost control. People always do this. The moment they can't influence behavior, they moralize it. They say, "You changed. You became cold. You're not the same. This isn't healthy." Translation: you no longer respond to control mechanisms. The monster is not evil. It is unavailable for manipulation. Chapter 8. The bear does not chase. It waits. You think danger announces itself. It doesn't. The most dangerous thing in the room is quiet. The monster doesn't rush. It doesn't explain. It doesn't threaten. It adjusts position. While others talk, it builds. While others posture, it prepares. While others feel, it calculates. That's what makes it irreversible. Chapter 9. Consequences are not emotional. People expect consequences to feel dramatic. They rarely do. Consequences are structural. Access disappears. Doors close. Leverage shifts. Power redistributes. The monster doesn't yell. It removes. By the time people realize what changed, the damage is already permanent. Chapter 10. You thought you were teaching a lesson. This is the irony. You thought you were teaching pain. You thought you were asserting dominance. You thought you were putting someone in their place. Instead, you trained something. You taught it. Not to rely on fairness, not to wait for empathy, not to expect rescue, not to negotiate with weakness. You didn't win. You upgraded the opposition. Chapter 11. The point of no return. There is a moment that never gets discussed. A moment after pain, after anger, after confusion, after hope dies. It's the moment when someone realizes there is no reason to go back, no incentive to be softer, no reward for restraint, no benefit to mercy. That's the point of no return. The monster doesn't arrive with fireworks. It arrives with finality. A quiet decision settles in. I will never make myself small again. From that moment forward, everything is different. Chapter 12. The monster does not seek revenge. This is where people misunderstand what they've unleashed. Revenge is emotional. Revenge is reactive. Revenge is wasteful. The monster does not seek revenge. It seeks alignment. It reorganizes life, so exposure disappears. Vulnerabilities are sealed. Dependence is eliminated. Leverage is maximized. Revenge is about the past. The monster is about never repeating it. Chapter 13. Morality was a luxury of safety. Morality is easiest when nothing is at stake, when survival isn't questioned, when security is assumed, when consequences are buffered. The shell allowed morality to exist. It believed fairness would correct imbalance, patience would be rewarded, good faith would be reciprocated. That belief died under pressure, not because morality was wrong, but because it was optional. The monster doesn't abandon morality. It removes it as a governing force. Effectiveness replaces virtue. Outcome replaces intent. Chapter 14. This is what happens when you remove hope. Hope keeps people compliant. Hope delays action. Hope encourages patience. Hope softens urgency. When hope is destroyed, urgency is born. The monster doesn't hope. It executes. It doesn't wait for signs. It doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't wait for clarity. Hope made people wait. Clarity makes the monster move. Chapter 15. The monster builds silently. You expect danger to be loud. It isn't. The monster doesn't announce transformation. It doesn't post about growth. It doesn't explain strategy. It builds quietly. While others talk, it studies. While others react, it positions. While others vent, it restructures. Silence is not absence. Silence is preparation. Chapter 16. Why people panic after the change. People only notice the monster after it's already in place. That's when they say, "You're different. You've changed. You're cold now. This isn't you." They are wrong. This is you without permission filters. They panic because their leverage disappeared, their access closed, their influence evaporated. They didn't lose you. They lost control. Chapter 17. The monster does not explain itself. Explanation is a weakness the shell relied on. The monster does not explain. It does not clarify. It does not defend. It does not justify. Explanation invites negotiation. The monster operates beyond negotiation. Chapter 18. You confuse kindness with control. Here's the mistake people make. They believe kindness was natural. They believe restraint was automatic. They believe patience was weakness. It wasn't. It was choice. And once that choice is revoked, it does not return. You don't re-cage something that learned why it was caged. Chapter 19. The bear was never your enemy. This is the final irony. The monster never wanted conflict. It wanted stability. It wanted structure. It wanted peace. The shell existed to preserve that peace. You kept violating it. You forced evolution. And now you're confused by the outcome. Chapter 20. Consequences are not violent. This is important. Consequences are not explosive. They are systemic. People expect destruction. They get exclusion. They expect confrontation. They get absence. They expect rage. They get irrelevance. The monster doesn't attack. It removes itself and everything it provided. That's the destruction. Chapter 21. Once released, it never goes back. This is not a phase. This is not anger. This is not trauma. This is consolidation. Once someone understands, they don't need approval, they don't need validation, they don't need permission, they don't need rescue. There is no reason to rebuild the shell. The shell existed for a world that no longer exists. Chapter 22. The final misunderstanding. You think the monster is dangerous because it is aggressive. That's wrong. It's dangerous because it is complete. It doesn't seek. It doesn't chase. It doesn't prove. It doesn't convince. It operates from sufficiency, and sufficiency terrifies people who rely on leverage. Chapter 23. You warned yourself and ignored it. There were signs, moments of silence, moments of withdrawal, moments where tolerance thinned. You ignored them. You assumed the shell was permanent. It wasn't. Chapter 24. This is what poking the bear really means. Poking the bear isn't about provoking anger. It's about removing restraint. It's about forcing something to stop caring how it's perceived. Once perception no longer matters, control evaporates. That's the consequence. Chapter 25. The final truth. You didn't create the monster. You revealed it. You didn't break someone. You removed what was holding them back. And now the rules that protected you are gone. Not out of malice. Not out of revenge. Not out of emotion. But out of clarity.